You will have some questions that involve algebra. Solve the following equation. What does it mean to solve? What are you trying to figure out? What are we trying to do if I'm asked to solve this? You're trying to figure out what the variable represents. So in this case, I'm trying to figure out what s is equal to. Okay, so we'll review this quickly. 4 times s is what? 4s. And then I have to multiply 4 times 1. We're distributing whatever's in front of the bracket over everything inside the bracket. So it's positive 4. Do I take this 4 and multiply it by negative 6s? No, it's not inside the bracket. So we just leave that as negative 6s equals 12, right? You only distribute the number in front of the bracket over the things inside the bracket. Now I have to simplify. That's what you were saying. Combine your like terms. I have a 4s and I have a negative 6s. They're all on the left side of the equation, so I don't change the signs. I just group them together, right? I have a 12 on the right side, so that stays the way it is. What do I do with this plus 4? So what does it become? Okay. So what's 4s? Take away 6s. Negative 2s. What's 12 take away 4? 8. Now how do I solve for s? What's the last? Divide both sides by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. That cancels out. I'm left with just s. Positive divided by a negative equals a negative. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the final answer for that one was s equals negative 4. Okay, if you have a question like this, expand and simplify. Well, we have the two brackets here, 7x plus 1 times 4x minus 5. So before you even distribute this 3, are you looking? Before you take that 3 and distribute it, you have to multiply these. You have to FOIL. Okay? Then at the end, you distribute the 3. So I want everyone to do the first part. So we're going to keep it as just the 3 in front. And the first thing we're going to do, I'll do the first one for you, is 7x times 4x. What's 7 times 4? Good. What's x times x? X to the power of 2. Good. And then we do 7x times negative 5. Positive and negative gives you a negative. 7 times 5, 35x. And then we have, because, no, minus, because it's a positive 7 times a negative 5. You keep the sign. Positive 1 times positive 4x. Positive 4x. And then positive 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Can we simplify what's in the bracket here? Can you combine these terms together? Do you have 2 x's? Do you have x's like terms in the bracket? So we're going to simplify that. We have our 28x squared, and then we're going to do negative 35x plus 4x. What do you got? Negative 35 plus 4 is equal to what? Negative 31x, and then this minus 5. Now you can take this 3. Look here. Now you take the 3 and you multiply it by each term inside the bracket. So let's do that step by step. So I'm going to do 3 times 28x squared. What's 3 times 28? 84x squared. Then I do 3 times what? What's next? Negative 31x. Positive times the negative is a 3 times 31, 93x, right? And then 3 times the last term, which is negative 5. Positive times the negative is a 3 times 5. That's the answer. So it's similar to 2a. We have our 2 brackets, so you got to do that first. So we leave the 7x, and then we do 2x times x. What's 2x times x? 2x squared. And then 2x times negative 1, negative 2x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And then a negative 3 times a negative 1. A negative and a negative gives us a positive. 3 times 1, 3. That part's good. Then we can simplify this. We can put those together. What's negative 2x? Take away 3x. Negative 2x, take away 3x is negative 5x, good. Okay, so that's the FOIL part done, but now we still have to distribute this. We have to multiply that by everything inside the bracket, right? So I have to take my 7x and multiply it by 2x squared. What's 7 times 2?
14.
What's x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 2? That would be x to the power of 3, right? Then I have the 7x times negative 5x. Okay. What's a positive times a negative? Negative. What's 7 times 5? 35. What's x times x? X times x is x to the power of 2, right? X squared, because I have to do 7 times 5.
Oh yeah, I did.
And then 7x times positive 3. What's a two positives? Is a positive. 7 times 3 is 21x. What do you remember about factoring? So you always want to first check to see if there is a greatest common factor. Always check to see if they have a greatest common factor. Shh. Can 24x squared and 60x are they divisible by the same number? Do they have a common factor? What number can go into 24 and 60 evenly? So if you list all the factors, you'll see that 12 is the largest number that goes into both of those evenly. Do they have a variable in common? They have an x, both of them. So the greatest common factor is 12x. That means that if I can divide it by 12x, I can multiply it by 12x to get back to the original answer, right? So what's 24x squared divided by 12x? What's 24 divided by 12? 2. And then what's x squared divided by x? X. Do you agree that if I were to go back and multiply that, 12 times 2 is 24, x times x is x squared. It works. If you want to go backwards, right? Step. The next thing we do now is we do the 60, so it's a plus, right? Plus. Oops.
That's the answer.
60x. 60 divided by 12x. Well, these x's cancel out, right? X divided by x reduces to 1. What's 60 divided by 12? 5. That's the answer. And you can go back and check. 12 times 2x is 24x squared. Sorry, 12x times 2x is 24x squared, and 12x times 5 is positive 60x. That was the original question, so yes, it works. Okay, what about B? Does B, we always want to see, does it have a greatest common factor? Is there anything that all three of these terms can be divisible by evenly? Yes, so get rid of that first. Factor out the greatest common factor. If it can be divided by 2, it means it can be multiplied by 2, right? So it'd be 2 multiplied by something. Well, what is that something? That cancels out, so you're left with, good. Positive 18 divided by 2 is positive 18 divided by 2, 9m. And then a negative divided by a positive is a negative 22. Yep. So right now we have 2, I'm going to write it over here because I'm running out of room. 2 times m squared plus 9m minus 22. But I can still factor this. That's a trinomial. This can still be factored into, you're looking for 2 things that multiply together. Remember this? To give you c, so to give us negative 22, and adds up to B, which adds up to positive 9. Do you remember this? This is on your exam. So I can still, so I've just moved this over here. This was our answer, but I know I can still factor this. I'm going to keep the 2 in front, but this can be factored. Well, what are the first two terms? What's the first term going to be? M times M, right? And I need to find two things that multiply together to give me negative 22. What times what gives you negative 22? It has to be a positive and a negative, right? Negative 11 and positive 2. Does that equal positive 9? No, that equals negative 9, Elijah. So let's try negative 2 and positive 11 gives me positive 9, right? It has to add up to positive 9. So it's going to be M minus 2 and M plus 11. Now this is fully factored. That's 3 marks. Okay, so for D, does it have a greatest common factor? What's the greatest common factor? What can everything be divided by?
4.
Okay, so that's the first part. And then you're going to write down what you're left with. So this cancels out. What are you left with? T squared. And then what did you do? Positive or minus? Plus or minus? Negative. 12 divided by 4. And then plus or minus? 72 divided by 4? 18. Can you still factor this? Can you find two things that multiply together to give you negative 18 and add up to negative 3? Two things that multiply together to give us negative 18 and add up to negative 3. What is it? Negative 6 and positive 3. Yes, that gives us negative 3, so it would be minus 6 plus 3, actually. 36. That's on your exam.
Hold on.
Okay, so square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of y squared is y. Positive and a negative will always result in a negative, so that's how you would factor that. This question says, on the grid below, draw a line through the point A, 4, negative 2. So we have to draw a grid. So let's just draw 4 quadrants, okay? This would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, positive, and then this would be negative 1, negative 2. This would be positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. How do I plot the point 4, negative 2? How do you read a coordinate? Is it xy or yx? Coordinates are always read xy. X is always horizontal, y is always vertical. So if I'm trying to plot the point 4, negative 2, how would I plot that point on the graph? So we know that we have to move 4 spaces to the right because x is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? We always start at the origin and moving 4 spaces to the right. And then y is negative 2. So am I going to go up or down 2? It's negative 2. That's it. That's the point. That's 4, negative 2 right there. Do you understand? But we're trying to draw a line. From that point, it says it has a slope. Let's write it like this. Negative 1 over 3. Slope is equal to what over what? Rise over run. Rise over run. It has a slope of negative 1 over 3. Is the slope positive or negative? Negative lines will always look like this. They go down to the right or up to the left. Positive lines will always look like that, going up to the right. So I know my line has to be drawn like this, in that direction. But how? It's going to go up or down 1. Okay? Down 1. Rise is 1. Rise is up or down. The run is positive 3. Which direction am I going to go? Left or right? How many spaces? 1, 2, 3. There's the other point. There's my line. Oops. Use a ruler. What if I decided I wanted to go up 1? Do I go left or right 3? 1, 2, 3. There's the second point. I can keep extending the line. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3. That's my line. Sorry, I drew it crooked. There. Okay? That's it. That's the first question. Plot the point. Did it. And draw the slope. Rise 1, run 3. Up 1, left 3. You must memorize this for your exam. Just look at if it's if the slope is negative, you automatically know the line has to go in this direction. It can go up to the left or down to the right. If the slope is positive, which it is for the second example, it's got to go in this direction, up to the right. So try B. Plot the point -5, -3. Where's that point? -5, -3. So here's -5. Okay, so this one has a slope of 2 over 5. So rise is 2, run is 5. So you're going to start at -5, -3. Where's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I go -5 along X, and then do I go up or down 3? 1, 2, 3. That's the point. Did everyone get that point? And now draw your line. Goes up 2, 1, 2, rise, and the run is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. There's my line. Up 2 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my line.